Please start recording. Okay, cool, great. So today is our next session on fundraising. So this is also welcome to Christina, who might be watching us, and also welcome to Victoria and Maros, who will experience this session in their academy, but they also were allowed to join. So this is more welcome to Abhishek and Anjay, who are today in person. So great to see you guys, and we'll go through fundraising strategies a little today. I will start with some short video to maybe have again a discussion, a little what resonated in you and what brought to you. And it should be practical session. You know, I take practical sessions in this time, so it will be really about what are the sources, and we can then also demonstrate it on some fundraising strategies, like whatever you needed or you need or you are thinking to do in your organization. I love fundraising, I do fundraising, but I'm not a theoretical expert on fundraising. So everything I can tell you, but you can also find in any, if you write fundraising in Google, there is a lot, but I'd like to share with you, some personal tactics, and I'd love to also hear from you what you've been challenged through, or what you are facing with fundraising, or if you need any help on this, and we can move from this further. And before we start the session, I wanted to also ask you if you can write me in the WhatsApp. Also, this is to you, Christina, some of your times for the session with Deborah, who is from Australia, because this seems to be very complicated for all of us, as she can do it in the evenings and you can do it in a day. So this is my request. If you could do it by tomorrow, send me 2 or 3 times, and also 2 or 3 days in June where you could make it. Please, Christina, Abhishek, and Anjay, and we will try to agree.
I think the last timing which we had, it was perfect.
But so this is not good for Anjay, because Anjay, it needs to be morning Europe, which is your, okay, I don't want to take a second, so right.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I could find a solution if everyone would agree for Monday next week. So I am actually free on Monday, so we can try to figure out if everyone else would be available. But I will write about that later.
Yes, that's my request. Please write it down into WhatsApp. Like, okay, Wednesday, or these are my 2 days or 3 days and 3 slots, and try to do it by the end of tomorrow or by lunch tomorrow, and we will then agree with Deborah. And then we are again up to another 2 sessions, like a closing session with Wendy. It might be up more until the end of June, and kind of a wrap up, and then we will schedule what's going to be next in the membership. But all right, let's dive into fundraising, money. That's always what we need. So before we start, I would love to share with you something, and that's like really something that also always brings me into thinking about what's really about money, and what's really about not money, but it's really about our desires. But before we start, maybe I would like to know from you, what has been fundraising for you, if you ever had to fundraise, and if so, how was it for you, or if not. Maybe few remarks. How was it for you?
So yeah, for me, I think I'm not very much familiar with the process of fundraising and other aspects, because I've not been directly involved with an organization or some kind of work where I was part of the fundraising kind of thing, So but as a young child, I was trying to do some kind of fundraising for an organization called Helpage India, who were trying to help elderly people in India. So as a part of their outreach, they came to our school and they tried to create some kind of awareness among us to try to collect some donation for them, so that they can use it for their own organization. And in order to motivate, what they did, so if you are able to collect 500 rupees, which is hardly $7 to $8, so if you are able to collect that much amount of money, so in the morning assembly, so clap was given to that particular person. So that was the basic thing which happened in my earlier part of childhood as fundraising. But in my personal experience as a what to say professional, I see fundraising, people who do fundraising, they try to do their best and they try to do it with certain commitment for a particular cause. Say for education, if someone is trying to do a fundraising, but I'm not able to grasp the whole process. I mean, who is raising fund and how that is being done? Why the other parties like UNICEF and UNESCO or some other organization like WHO is able to provide fund to them, and how this is happening. So I'm not very familiar with that landscape, and I would definitely love to understand how this happens and how, if it happens, how I can raise money for a particular issue so that I can work on that particular issue. You know? So if I'm able to grasp that idea from today's session, that will be a big takeaway, and I'm looking to this kind of understanding. Yeah, so that is
So think about this issue, Abhishek, in the meantime video, and we were also discussing a little, hi Christina, over the stakeholders mapping, because it very often goes from this, like you actually fundraise. But my last question would be, what was the, and with one maybe or two words, what was the feeling for you when you were asking for money, even if you were small? And it was, what was the
so that time, I was quite excited about two things. I was not very empathetic about the issue in general because I was a kid, so I was not like what this amount really used for. So I was not very much aware about what issue that is. Obviously, you tend to have idea. Okay, this money will go to the service of elderly people, but as a child, you are not too much aware about this. But I was quite excited. I'm just going. The summer vacation was on, and I was going to certain families. Okay, uncle, give me 500 rupees. I will be winning. I will be getting clap. I will be getting a bat as a token prize. So we did our best, and obviously I was not able to collect good amount of money because there are other people who took lead, and they got very good amount. So that was the general feeling which I have. But when I look back, I thought, okay, I did something at that point of time. I was not aware, and it might have helped so many people. So that idea itself became very large after 4 5 years, and Helpage India, it was able to deliver some good work around India on the elderly people basically. So yeah, I was not very empathetic, but obviously as a kid you are compassionate and empathetic to each and everything because you're not aware about the kind of mysterious world this is. So for each and everything you take it very innocently.
Super. Jay, Christina, welcome. We are speaking about, thank you.
Hi Christina. How are you?
About
hi Christina.
Do you have any experience, or what is that for you, like with fundraising?
You're asking me? Sorry, people. Hi, I had problems with computer. No, I have no experience with fundraising.
Andrzej?
So I actually have quite a lot of experience with fundraising, but mainly from the institutional and public donors. So it's rather, not really with the private donors or anything like that. Even this morning, I had a conversation with one of my colleagues engaged in the association I am also engaged in, and she has an idea for a project, and we just met for a coffee to discuss where we possibly can get money, what was the time frame, how much money we should get, and then how to approach that and things like that. But this is more like a project related thing, and everything is related with the public donors. So we, in this, let's say, northwestern world, we are quite privileged that there is quite a lot of possibilities for financing the ideas, especially in the civic space, in this nonprofit space. So we have a little bit better opportunities than the other colleagues, from the other continents about that. But yeah, when it comes to the fundraising and let's say writing the proposals and things like that, I think this is how my work about pretty much, to get money and later on to reconcile everything and to provide the proper report and have the staff, do the activities and have the expenses accepted by the donors. So this is all what I do for 10 years.
If you imagine you would be doing it not with the big institutions, but with the small donors, can you imagine that you would be like, maybe asking for like individual, because I know, we'll be discussing it further. It's one part of the fundraising, of course, one way.
I lost you, Andrea.
One way of fundraising. So if you can imagine, can you hear us, Andre? Can you, Abhishek and Christy?
Andrea.
I'm able to hear.
Okay.
I hear you well also.
Yeah, sorry guys, it's probably my network, the place where I am right now. I see there's like jumping back and go up and down, so it's probably on my side. But I understood before it cut off. I understood they were asking me about the small donors, like trying to how I.
Yes, that you would be doing it also to small donors or people like really.
Okay. So yeah, we had this conversation this morning as well, like do the crowdfunding, let's say online. And I said, I don't want to do that. It's too much effort for so little money. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the other organizations I'm observing, they're trying to do that, like, Greenpeace or WWF, they're trying to fundraise, get money from the people on the streets. I kind of finding this as kind of obsolete method. I think it's not the proper way to approach the people at this moment. It doesn't work, and it actually makes me feel bad for these fundraisers, these young people, and that I don't really think they are very effective in that what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So I kind of have and I don't really have the other experiences with the small donors, so it would be really difficult to tell you a little bit more. I can tell, for instance, why I was engaged in several crowdfunding campaigns when I paid for something, but that was something else. That was from the other side.
Why you were the donor then?
Yeah, I was the donor. Yeah, so I was like contributing to some project which I found meaningful, and then so that's the other aspect of the whole thing. This fundraising among the private individuals, let's say. Yeah.
Great you said it, Andre, because exactly we will also discuss this when we are also donors. That's one thing. And also what's that? Because my experience goes on all fronts, except for crowdfunding. But yeah, it's good to have all the aspects, because every single part of these 5, let's say, many people say there are like 6 ways how to fundraise. You could go through 5 easily, are very interconnected, but are very different. And it's also good we have Christina here, because for your case, you will be maybe fundraising a lot in the future from different perspective. So, and also maybe Abhishek, because you also had a big stand for sanitary providence for women in India. So there might be also a lot of that. So that would be great when we will have an interactive time. And for now, I'd like to really give like your attention to someone that is my idol in fundraising. And I don't know if I think I've shared with you the video last time. You remember the Lynn Twist video about taking a stand,
Yeah.
So she's really doing a great job, and she was like pronounced like, not officially, but as one of the most effective fundraiser for many years, I would say in a decade, when she was fundraising for this project, Hunger Project. And she also...
No, but my primary question, if I may interrupt. So my primary question is, before going to the fundraising aspect, I want to understand on what issues one can raise the fund, okay, and then whom to approach for raising those funds.
That's exactly when the way you use the fundraising, because you can fundraise in different ways, and then you can approach different people. And I hope Andre is here as well, as you've been fundraising. That's also then you think about your stakeholders. You remember we had the session on stakeholders, like maybe it was how much? It was like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We were speaking about, and Christina, not
Yes.
there, but then you joined us, like really what are your
Yes.
stakeholders? And there is a
Yeah.
yeah, and there is a part of your stakeholders. Then also can be people you can ask money for or from. And there could be also people who can like connect you with, you know, like who can really connect you with others who have money. Yes, Christina?
I haven't fundraised until now, never, because for that you need to be an institution, right?
Yeah.
No.
And no, because my citizen movement is no institution. It's just a
Not
group of people,
necessarily.
and we have never become money because of that. Because they say, who are we giving money?
So in fact, sometimes non-formal groups can also apply for funding and from the, let's say, institutional donors. You just have to know from which ones, and you probably have to go to due diligence and things like that. But sometimes it is possible, in fact, you know. So it's not always like it's disqualifying you that you are not registered or anything, something like that.
But I have a small question. But isn't that, you know, something to be cynical about? You know, like an individual is raising fund and then he can misuse that.
No, because actually you have it's not a cynical, because you have a way. Okay, so we can go to these 5 ways, and Andre can also be here present with his experience, and then we can go to the video, because actually I think there are 2 important things, and let me just close the door not to be interrupted. So when you know, I wanted to show you the principles of money with this video before we go into the groups, because whatever type of fundraising you start, you know, whatever way you go to people and to your potential donors, firstly, it's really about, you know, understanding your connection to the money you are asking for. Because many people think, in practical way, many people think, okay, I need 20,000 euros. Or let's start with 1,000, you know, I have small initiative, I need 1,000. Oh, it's a big money. How can I do that? Okay, so I can apply for a grant. I can ask people to go, you know, for donating me 100 euros, and 10 people can give me 100 and I have it, and different things. And, oh, but it's a big money, you know, but it's not big money for someone. For someone, it's just like a penny on his account. And that's very important when you don't go into big institutional financing, which we also will touch what Andre has mentioned, but you really go on your own project, as you have had Abhishek in India, you, Christina, you are now having. It's a small amount of money, and you might think it's a lot, and it's my individual, and it's maybe cynical to ask it from people, but it's not actually, because every single penny can help you. And maybe it's really a penny for the others, you know. So that's why I want you, before we go into that, like really have you to listen to this 2 minutes video, and then we can go to the groups, because it's really about your mindset. When I started fundraising, it was 7 years ago already. 6 years ago, it was my first fundraising, and it was for my flight ticket, actually. So very individual.
Flight.
It was flight ticket to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So, so this is Christina, super individual. It has no social impact. There is no institution, and there might be only personal interest. And it wasn't, because there was a program people have endorsed me for. So it wasn't only my personal interest. It was not a vacation, because I was about to really work and make an impact for my country there. And it was exactly that amount of money. So I started with that. And I never forget my first donor, who told me, just go and ask people, those who are your stakeholders. That's why we spoke about who are your stakeholders, and ask them that this is a thing, you manage it because they were supporting you and you got there where you wanted. And now you need to get there. And you need the money to help you to get there, because the flight ticket was not covered. So, and this is one of the methods of really individual donors, individual fundraising, like finding individual donors that can help you for the cause. And it might be very individual, because it always, on the contrary, and Andre can second me here, that it's sometimes way difficult to fundraise as an institution than as an individual. Because it's you are an individual, and whatever you stand for, that's the most believable thing you go for. That's why you remember when we spoke with Lindqvist, when we listened to Lindqvist last time, there was like, you have a stand for something. It's you who has a stand. Yeah, at the organization as well. Like Andrej can confirm, like institutions he works with, they also have a stand. But then they go into bigger races and more money races. But it's different methodology. But when you speak about really individual donors, which is like a one way of fundraising, not easy one, not of course an easy one of the most difficult one, I would say. It's always about you. That's why you have your own map of stakeholders. How does it land? How is it landing? Because I see like the faces are like, I don't see Andrej's face, but I see like your two faces. Like,
hi. So yeah, I switched off my camera because my connection is bad. So I just wanted to keep it, without the screen. But I do agree with you, Andrea. I am following you, and I wouldn't say that better in the other way,
Because it's really like the one way. It's the most important. It's the second way of fundraising, And I'm starting with that, but you can be, of course, Andrej, also camera for your connection, but I wanted to encourage Christina as well and Abhishek. Like when you said, I wouldn't fundraise for individual stuff, people are interested in your individual stuff. People by themselves, if they have money, always go to people because they want to know where the money ends. So when you think about like how to fundraise, one way is to have, yes?
How do we know that these individuals have money and they are able to provide this amount of money to you? Yeah? How do we do that?
That's important then to think about your map of stakeholders you have, the people who could have a stake at something, and some of them could be your donors. Because you can have, let's say, government as an important, stakeholder and player. But government maybe requires you to be an institution. Government, wants you to be a legal entity. Government wants you to have some security in a bank. So it might also give you money, but it's not that sure as individuals who might have money, and you know them, like people who have money, and in your surroundings the most. Yeah, there's Bill Gates, of course, and there is maybe, I don't know, Warren Buffett. But you also know people in your environment who have money, who are entrepreneurs. If you think about it, of course, it's not about like, oh, I go. That's another method. But if you really go donor to donor, individual, then you have to really know who you're gonna sit with and ask for money. And out of
are we getting any kind of insights from our academy also in terms of approaching a particular donor or fundraiser?
What would you mean? What do you mean?
I mean, some kind of, if there is any institution which you are aware about in India or in some other country where we can particularly approach, that kind of matter.
Now I'm speaking about individual donors. So the donors,
I understand
that. Who you know. Individual donors are the people who you know in person very often. It starts there. So it's never the people who are out there. Of course, if you have the most revolutionary startup, it might be that also Bill Gates is interested, or Richard Branson, all these big names. But very often these are small people in your environment. It can be one or two. You need one or two in the beginning to believe in your idea. And also you need to know how much you need.
So, yeah.
So that's very, very important, yes. But let me share with you this, and it's like really, before we get into deeper, before also still Andrej is here with us, before we get into other groups, because I started with the maybe most difficult group, but with the most effective, because you are here measuring who you are. It's very, Andrej can confirm, if you have an institution that has a name, it's way easier to ask. Sometimes not. But you have a name. If you are, let's say, I would say National Endowment Institute, NDI, National Democratic Institute, that is also in Poland, everyone knows you. Like everyone knows, okay. Or if you are Open Society Foundations, or you are Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation, of course, we know them. As Christina said, you have an entity, everyone knows. But if you are you, not many people know you. And then everything, yeah.
And that's the point which I was making, you know.
And that's then about you. Then you need to have the strategy in this case. Okay, so let's say this strategy, okay, I will start with that. The strategy in this is easy. You need to find what, it's also only my experience after those many years of fundraising. You need to really find first people who believe in your idea. And it's good if they are people that are somehow well known. In my case, it's been, for example, in that area. So when it was 6 years ago, it was someone who was a former Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And he was my mentor at that time. And if I said that this man is supporting me, then others came. Many years after, that man was not necessary anymore because I was playing different games. And for example, these people who were resonating were interested about my global community. So when they saw, okay, you are connected to global leaders, then good, I want to help you. You know? And if we speak about this category, which is a category individual donors, so we can make it our category 1, even if it's individual donors. Even this is not the easiest way, individual donors. So this time, actually last October, when I was again fundraising, those were people who are not recognized at all. They are they are operating in their companies and they don't want to be known. But they knew my trajectory for whole life. They know what I've accomplished with their fundraising and with their help. So then I could approach them showing, you know, see, I've moved on. I'm developing Global Academy. I would need some funding. Can you help me? So when you are unknown with your idea, you need very well-known people. But when you start being known in your community that you do something different, then you don't have to have very big names around you because you already have a track record. And then you are interested for the people that know you, and maybe they are not rock stars, no one knows them. So, and you have the cause. That's why I was asking, like, also what is thing about your cause, because all of you have some, and that's the most important. So, for example, for your medical aid, you might maybe need some good entrepreneur that, you know, that wants to really help health in India. But in the end, and then we come to individual big donors. It can be also Richard Branson or Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation because they want to improve health, you know. Yeah, but sure. It's very much linked, and that's why we had the first session on stakeholders. It's very much linked, and your stakeholders met. So the people that are important to you in the phase of the current project. And I say on a Global Academy, of course, maybe I could ask for Obama support, yes, because it's global, but Global Academy is not in that stage that I could ask, you know, for donation from Obama Foundation now. Yeah. I could, but it would mean, even if they say, yes, I'm here, Michelle Obama will be here with us, it wouldn't be, you know, like it would be waste for both sides. I don't say you wouldn't like to meet her, but you know, it's starting. So we either bring you Wendy Schneider, who is also great, and be much more in touch with you, because also Michelle Obama wouldn't have a time to be in touch with you in a membership group, I'm sure. So, but maybe in the 5 years, when we will be like 100 and it will be so powerful, we kind of like can meet and bring other people. And we sometimes think in this category that asking the money from people who are unknown is something like, but who I will say that I have a money from? Like, they are not known. Doesn't matter. They trust in you. And these are the most important things, like they trust in you, what you do. That happened to me, like when I was like, you know, as 21 years old, I was asking for a flight ticket and fundraising. I didn't have a trajectory. I was young, but they trusted in me. And that's why there were few. There were 5 people. So this is very important, that you really think about your individual donors as someone who is close to you, knows what you stand for, and just want to support you. And yeah, go ahead, Christina.
Example, this project with the satellite cell phones for the indigenous people, indigenous communities. So I should go to people I know first and explain them my cause. And it wouldn't be to say I want to buy cell phones, satellite cell phones for the indigenous people, but I should say I want to activate indigenous nations in the politics of their countries. And for that, I need communication. You mean like that about cause, or which cause do you mean?
Yes. I mean about this cause. Yes. Cause, see this. Your cause. You want to cause something.
Okay.
You know, exactly as you said, because this is a mission. We always tend to think that fundraising is asking money, but that's really a myth. It's not asking money, it's raising the funds. Oh, okay, it's not rocket science, what I just said, I know. But when you have it in your mind, it's a rocketing, because when you think I go ask for money, yes, that's asking for money. Beg for money. People think I'm not going to beg for money. No way, I will earn them or I will get them. You don't beg, you don't ask. You are raising the funds. That's different from asking for money. That's different from collecting money. That's also different, you know, from, beggars in the street, you know, or donations. You know, we don't speak about donations. That's completely different thing. We speak about raising the funds, because you create, you increase your value with the funds. And we always associate it with money. Yeah, go ahead.
I think in recent Indian elections were held. So 2 of the candidates, they were able to do crowdfunding because they were fighting election. So they said, you know, I am fighting election. So they received the maximum amount which is permitted in India for election. So they were able to get that amount, rupees 70 lakh, which is, I don't know, like it's a huge amount. Maybe.
We can't hear you that much. Can you repeat it, Abhishek?
I'm saying that in the election which was there, so 2 of the candidates, those were the young candidates, they did an experiment by crowdfunding for the election. So they were able to get rupees 70 lakh, which is the maximum limit for so that amount. So rupees 70 lakh, how would I say? So one euro is 90 rupees. So it's a big amount overall.
Yeah, and that's another method. You are jumping already to another method, which is great. Just before we go to another method, because there's a method called crowdfunding, not a surprise. So crowdfunding, I will write it down here, and then I will send you a link for very useful articles. Crowdfunding, but before we go into crowdfunding, I just want to reassure that it landed well with individual donors, and we can move on, although we can still get back, you know, if you have any comments on this. Because there is a strategy for every single part of fundraising. And I also am available then after the call on the other time to have a conversation when you will be preparing things for individual donors. Because as Andre said, it's a lot of work. You need to be really prepared and very briefly known why this person should invest in you. You know, it's very exciting to go and sit with a person that wants to invest in you, but you have to know why this person should invest in you. And the all other methods are a little bit easier because they are sometimes anonymous. They are sometimes like more public also, and sometimes they are, as Andre said, more institutionalized. So before we go into this, let me share with you something. Just I need to skip the advertisement here on. Yes, okay. So let me share the screen with you. 3 minutes, so it's not, or even 2. Yeah, it's 2:30. But before we go to any other part of the fundraising, I hope you will be able to see. Can you see this?
Yes. Can I ask something? Help.
Yes.
What's the difference between fundraising and crowdfunding? My dictionary tells me nothing.
No, crowdfunding is one way of fundraising.
Okay, I will understand it at the end. Okay.
Basically, the free, very, very, very large ones, and then you can have like some specific ones. So it's
okay.
You just have a bigger number of stakeholders you want to reach out, and like you ask, expecting like having maybe more people paying smaller amounts of money or whatever to your cause, and doing usually through the internet. So
okay.
That's how.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly, Christina. That's really like there are crowdfunding platforms. The most widespread one is fundme.org.
Yes, I know it. I became no cent. I tried it once, nothing.
That's because that's about strategy, and for every single person, different strategy works. Like there are people like LeanTwist, you will see, and I would say also myself is part of it, that really create individual donors because it's natural for us. There are people who are amazing for crowdfunding because the strategy in crowdfunding is not to have a detailed cause and big names. For crowdfunding is to have a great campaign. It's like a Facebook campaign, you create a great Facebook campaign, let's say about amazing Nike shoes, and people want it, people like it, people click it. So for crowdfunding, it's not important how many great names you have behind you. If the campaign as such is great and you put it on the FundGo and FundMe, let's say, or if it has a big story, then you can get money. And one of the largest, I would say, widespread crowdfunding so far has become a Facebook crowdfunding. I don't know if you've seen it, but on a Facebook, you can start a fundraising campaign, and people do it as their birthday present sometimes. That they posted on a day of their birthday, the campaign, that people can fund their cause as a birthday present. So they can donate money to their accounts, like to your Facebook campaign, and it's like a birthday present for them. So that's also like, it's getting very, very popular today. I never tried, but Nienke tried it, and it was great. It really worked out. Of course, when you think what is the biggest distinction also, when we think only about these two categories for now, it's the amount of money. Because it's much more useful if you speak about Facebook crowdfunding, that you put smaller amount of money that you can reach easier, and people really see, okay, even if they donate, let's say one like $5 or €5, you are closer to that amount, because there is kind of a banner that gets closer and closer till the money you need, your request is filled, and it's easier then, and people say, oh, I'm a part of it, because it's easier to donate through Facebook. So this is this magic of crowd campaign and crowdfunding, is that if it's a story, and I think your case, for example, Christina, has a big story on fundraising, it could be supported by many people. But it's, for example, not the same for individual donors, because they are interested in different methodology, different preparation. Sometimes they are very, very much invested into the strategy. And then also there is a difference between donors and investors. And we will speak about it, because that's a third category. Donors want to give you money, and they don't want to see the return of their money sometimes. They just want to donate, and help you. They are your donors. And then you have investors. But we will go to investors because it's another category. When you start fundraising with investors, you have to have an investment plan. It's investment. So are we on the same page? Did we all get it? Yeah? Okay, cool. So we started with crowdfunding. We touched up on that. We can go on the structure of how to create this campaign. And we started about individual donors. So these are two categories. We will go to other three. But before that, I want to share this with you a little bit. What do you get out of it?
The first toxic myth, I call them the toxic myths in the great lie of scarcity. Now, once again, this is an unconscious, unexamined set of assumptions, a paradigm in which we live that has us look out in the world before we even think and see there's not enough to go around. And someone somewhere is always going to be left out, and I got to make sure it's not me and mine, whoever I consider that to be. I feel bad about that, but I can't help them until I have way more than I need to take care of me and mine. So the first myth is there's not enough. The second myth is more is better. More of anything, more of everything is better. More. And we live in, as we all know, a tyranny of messages that don't stop telling us we need more of this, more of that. We're not tall enough. We're not skinny enough. We're not educated enough. We're not pretty enough. We're not this enough or that enough, until we accumulate more, until we buy more. So the more is better culture is everywhere, and it doesn't leave us alone. And then the third toxic myth is, that's just the way that it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. And the third one is, I think, the worst, because it holds the whole mindset in place. It has us think that we can't do anything about it, but we won't try. It's a source of resignation. It's a source of people not being able to make a difference. It's a source of institutionalized racism. It's a source of institutionalized poverty. There's nothing we can do about it. It's just the way it is. So we live in a culture that demeans human life, that exalts more of anything and everything, makes us feel that we're not enough, doesn't give us any access to our wholeness, and has us think that's just the way it is. And no wonder people miserable in their relationship with money.
Yeah. And you say too, I love this, that if you want a clear picture of your priorities in life, who you are and what you care about, look at your checkbook.
It really tells you what you care about, and your credit card bill and your bank statement. It's exactly where your priorities are. And sometimes it's not that aligned with your soul.
Hi, YouTubers.
So I wanted to share this video with you because it's really about I will then put it on a platform. I saw like some faces when Lynn was sharing, because that sometimes can be in our head when we start approaching these two groups of people. I should have more, so you put a big amount of money, or there's not enough, someone else has more, or like I don't have enough and I have to go for more. Maybe I don't need 1,000, maybe I don't need 2,000, but I will go for 2,000. To be stick to that stigma that it's always not enough something, and that money created. So I wanted to share this with you before we go into two other groups, because it's very much also affected by that, especially when you come to the that should be that difficult. I don't know what's this reaction, Andre. So can you share with us? I see now your comment.
Which one? The comment?
That shouldn't be that difficult. We have pending conversation about connecting you with Civicus, but we can speak about that.
No, that's supposed to, I've been talking to Christina, so that was another one, because I've been talking about the association, because I was trying to figure out what are the issues with the associations in Germany. So that's the other thing, yeah. But It was related to the fundraising, because that's the easiest way to fundraise, in fact, through the institutional organizations.
Yeah, that's exactly another way. So is there anything you
sorry that went to everyone. That was Christina's actually message.
Okay, so no problem. I just was like, maybe
conversation.
No problem. I just feel like it's connecting to the video. So anything you want to reflect on this video, or we can move on. But I want to create a space if you would like. Okay.
No, we can move on.
Yes. So this is something it touched a little bit, because Lynn is sharing a lot about the soul of money. If the money has a soul, because money is an energy, and money have also a soul. And when you go through these two groups, either individual donors or even you go to really crowdfunding, you might have different relationship with the money that comes to your account. And that also goes to the third group, I would say, and then we also go to Andrei's favorite group, and this is investors. So this is not Andrei's favorite group, but it's one of the group you have to have in mind when you start fundraising. As well, who are your investors? And there, I think it comes out this kind of a myth of what is enough for you, and when someone will have more and you will have less. Because when in case of individual donors, people who you meet and you have a cause, they will support you and you agree on some amount of money. And basically you are both fine because they want to help you, they know your cause, and they stand for you. In a crowdfunding, people very often want to stay anonymous, but they also know what you are up to and they want to help you. But very often the money comes from a space, yes, I really want to help this cause to live. You know, I want to help Christina to create a different country in Bolivia. I want to help maybe Abhishek to really bring sanitary stuff to all women, you know, let's say. So this would be something that would resonate. But then we come to the space of investors. And in that case, you already can get trapped in your ideas and ambitions, because these people and this group is a not group that just want to give you money. They want to invest in you. And sometimes those can be the same people as donors, but sometimes they want to see an investment back in money. And sometimes they want to invest the time and money in you because they like you. But it's still very important to keep in mind, they are your investors and they want to see some plan with that money. That, I would say, is the biggest and the main difference between donor and investor. Investor really wants to see where the plan goes. And sometimes when we are in the trap, like there's never enough, you know, I need now 20,000, please. It's like a loan in a bank, you know, you want to buy that new thing, you get a loan and you think like, maybe I need bigger. So I take 25 instead of 15. And then it comes like, there's never enough. And you start like, instead of creating something bigger that you stood up for, you start starting to, you know, earn to pay your loan. And that can also happen with investors. You meet with a good investor, you know, and he wants to invest in you because your project has a cause. And you start promising him, yes, you know, we will increase the members in 100%, you know, or in Christina's case, yes, we will change whole system in Bolivia, you know, and you can do it in presentations. Like you can make a PowerPoint presentation and, you know, we have a proverb in Slovakia, you can put everything on a paper. It's very easy. Wonderful graphs, wonderful statistics. And investor says, wow, if she can do this with my 10,000, I want to do that. Typical. I have money, 10,000 is nothing for me. If Abhishek can do that, maybe change. Yes, Christina, go ahead.
Investors, you have to give them the money back, right?
That depends. Some of the investors don't want money back. They just want to invest. And that's a perspective. That's why I wanted to show Lynn this video, because it's your mindset. Like really. Yes, Andrei?
I think I would agree with Christina in that matter. Investors are rather, they're expecting to have a return, some kind of return, you know?
Yes.
So either finance return, or when we talk about the business, or either they wanted to see something for themselves, you know? And usually the investment means like I put some resources and I'm expecting something back, you know, in exchange. Donors, not necessarily. Donors is more open for me. At least my understanding is like I'm donating something and I don't really necessarily expect the outcomes from that donation. You know, like I give you money, I follow your costs, but I don't really, I hope you're going to do it properly, but if something will not work, I will not be that much disappointed, or I will not be chasing you for giving me my interest back. Investors would do that, in my opinion. That's the difference. How I would differentiate those two stakeholders, let's say, because these are stakeholders, donors and investors.
Partially, I would add something to that, but Abhishek wanted to say something. No, you were doing timeout. Okay, yes, Andre, you might be right, and very often is like that. You have an investor, he wants to see your plan, and you want to grow. But you know what happens, and you all are in these sectors a little bit. You are not the social entrepreneurs doing applications that can earn money. So you are working with human capital, and you might want to have an investor that, for example, wants to invest in you, but you can't really promise any return on money. And then it comes another thing, which I love to use, and I use it in this closed group. So don't use it when you speak to someone because people really don't resonate. But instead of return on investment, which is a money, you can also sometimes expect from a very conscious investor a return on impact. And it's something I've learned over years also with GFU and also in building my things. And that's something that it's complementary to what you just said, Andre, return on impact. Some of the investors, when you meet them, they really want to see your growth in terms of finances, in terms of your economical growth. But they don't want a money back because they understand you can't get back the money to them. It's a social cause you have. When I was starting and initiating global platform of conscious politics, and I came to my former donor, but also investor, I could not prove that the global impact platform will earn money, that the global academy will earn money that much that I can give it back to him. But he knew that through this project, he doesn't have time. Yes, Andrzej? Okay, that through this investment into myself, into idea, he can have an impact in the society, which he otherwise would not have time to do because he's running business. And this is amazing. When you start meeting people, some of them don't want to have their money back because they, for example, invest 5,000. And when they can invest 5,000 is almost nothing for many of them. But what they don't have a time to make a difference in the world. And you might be the vehicle for them to make the difference.
Andra, sorry, I know I lost you lost me for a second because I was switching to the other network. But
yes?
I just wanted to tell you, introduce me to those people.
Oh, it's not about these people. It's about you and your cause. That's the point. Because of course.
But what I need to understand is how do I know? Mm-hmm. You mean I have to go with a cause or I have to go with a plan?
You always. Yes.
And how do I know if the one needs my cause or my plan? If we're talking about actually the same, if investors don't want their money back.
You always need to have a plan, Christina. That's a point. There's only a point what will be in return. And that's also the difference. You go to the bank, you get a loan. As Andre said, you have a credit and there's no impact. Bank wants money back. Yes? There is an investor, high-tech investor. He has millions to invest. And he says, okay, bring me a plan how you will evaluate that 30,000 within 3 years. And you will bring a plan. And he says, okay, great. I see you will earn 100, so you can pay me back. Great. But what happens in our projects, in the projects that we cause, you might not bring 100 euros or 100 whatever dollars from your project, but you might really create a different law in your society. In your case, you needed, for example, money to travel to Spain to organize the forum. But actually mobilizing people in Spain, Christina, at your case, had some cost on you, travel, accommodation, let's say 1,000. But mobilizing all of them, in the end, you reach out to your government and you accomplished with all the people around you, but you are causing it, this thing, this allowance to elect. So if someone, as a good investor, said, okay, I would love to have an impact on my country, I'm Bolivian, and you would say, I can do it. But in order to travel to Spain, I need 500. In order to live there, I need another 500. Could you help me with this? Could you invest into me? And he says, yes. But you say, but I cannot give you back. And he says, no problem, because I will make with this small money, for me, small money, I will make a big impact in my country because you can make it. Do you see this point?
Yes, I understand it completely, but it's just hard for me because the investor word is also in English and in German and in Spanish the same, and it means I give you something so I can win with this money back.
No, and that's my thing. That's why I sent you this video of LinTwist, and it's a myth about money. They don't want money always back. Yes, they want something back. Yes, but that's their impact. Because if he put 500 euros in you, you would travel to Spain and you would lie on a beach and you would come back and you would say, sorry, it didn't work out, but I had a good holiday. He would like that money back because he didn't make an impact. But
maybe you are saying it from a perspective from a Western European country, and it might differ, in a country like India, where it's hard to find people who maybe invested in such ideas, as Lynn was saying that, so it might be a little bit of difficulty to find such people in my country.
But you don't have to find them in India. Why you have to find them in India?
Okay.
That's the point.
Because no one cares about Bolivia, for example, because I'm thinking about, okay, who could have
how do you know
wanted to invest in this forum?
How do you know
for the control electoral, blah, blah.
How do you know no one cares?
And how do we reach out to those people then? How do we do that?
You have to think who is important for you, and then also formulate what are you up to. Because how do you know no one cares how many people you are talking about? Sure. How many people you really sat together and talked to? Or how much time you have pushed crowdfunding? It's exactly what we will come to the next group that Andre is familiar. It's like writing the grants and proposals is the same. Don't expect that you will get money from the first proposal. Don't expect that you will get money from the first investor. Don't expect you will get money from the first campaign. So everyone cares because no one of you here in this space is sending a new lollipops, or new hamburgers. Even hamburgers can be revolutionary nowadays. Or I don't know, a balloons. Like it's a big. You all are changing your country. Yes, Andre, you can.
Yes, Andrea. Just because I will have to disconnect soon, but just wanted to add a little bit to what you were saying and what you've been saying before. So it's very important actually to think before we reach out to the people. To think if we're thinking about them as investors, like what they wanted to get from it, like what we have in common. For instance, if we have any, I don't know, like let's say a person who is interested in the indigenous people's rights or the indigenous people's struggles, let's say, for example. So it's better to approach to these people in that way. They're trying to show that our cause is related to her interests. And this is another homework which we usually have to do with the fundraising for the private people and for the private institutions. Mm-hmm. Like try to find the common ground. And then, this is not the rocket science again. This is not like we are really, discovering new continent. This is something which works very well in business as well. You're always trying to reach out, like try to find the common ground with the people and try to attract them to your things, whatever you have to sell or whatever you wanted to do. It's the same with the politicians, right? You don't really follow and tell all the time whatever you like if the people don't like it. You're trying to switch a little bit and trying to make it in the way, to do it. So you will be able to attract more people and convince the people to your cause. So this is actually, I think this is also very much related to the fundraising. The funny thing is that only today I was writing, that was my private fundraising actually. I was writing to one of the schools because I'm looking for a huge amount of money for my MBA. Mm-hmm. And I was reaching out, like asking for the donation scholarship for like 20,000 euros. And then first, what I have done, I read the status of the school and saw, what kind of principles they have. And I was trying to, based on the principles, and try to fit to these principles, so I was trying to tell them like, hey, you give me this 20,000 euros, so I will be able to study with you guys. So I actually cover this, and this, what your school is actually trying to achieve. So that was also like doing my homework for the, I was trying to do the conversation with them, with their webpage, in fact, with their website, whatever they had written. Mm-hmm. It took me a lot of time. I don't know if I'm going to be successful with that, but I think this is the way to do it. And this is pretty much the same with writing the grant proposals. If you want to get money from the, some institution, you're always also checking the priorities. You're not writing the proposal for the grant to the let's say, if you wanted to finance, I don't know, hospital, you're not writing this proposal to the organization which is fighting for environment, for instance. You just have to also think about that, focus and put, group everything. I don't know if that was clear because I'm on the street, so it's difficult to focus, but
it's great you raised it, Andre. And if you need any, we could have a separate conversation if you'd like to on your fundraising thing, because you have to leave now. Mm-hmm. And I also will share another video, so we can schedule the call together and we can have a look where and how to push the buttons. And
sure.
If it will be helpful for you for the next study, and maybe connect you with some people I know already in Poland, and it might be interesting for you, or you might know already them, but it's good to share the network.
Yeah, awesome.
Because I will be touching about this. So see you soon, and let me know on WhatsApp. We can agree, and we will move on to exactly what. Take care. Exactly, we will move on.
Guys.
Have a good evening and a good meeting. Christina, so exactly, it's really about what you stand for, and I wasn't like, I didn't want to shout on you, please don't take it this way. I just wanted to really make you aware that it's us who sometimes like stops, before sharing big things. It's like, who would be interested? Everyone, if you make it interesting. And it is, because it is interesting by default, because it's creating a democracy, it's pushing democracy in your country.
Yes. I have a question, an example, because now with this political party, we are poor. We have no money. It's just an amount of citizens that are making politics or trying to. They told me, Christina, you're in Europe. Please move yourself. Find money. We need money. We have no money for the campaign, for nothing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking about, okay, crowdfunding for a political party, no go. Individual donors, I would have to think about it. Mm-hmm. Investors, who would like to invest in a political party, another political party, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm looking about what have we in common or something like that. Because which institution would like to fundraise a political party? That's my question. I'm thinking about it.
And have you done your map of stakeholders?
No, nothing. That was told me for a couple of hours. Okay. They told you, I have an important call about this.
Yes. So firstly, you need to make, and we did it last time. Let's try to make like very easy, like a map of the people who are important in Europe for you. Because there could be different like liberal and democratic families that could help you as well. Also democratic institutions that promote, like European and South American cooperation, I think especially in European Union. And also you can reach to Lucia, who is back in the commission now. Lucia Kleshnitzova is our former alumna and mentor, and she works for the European Commission.
She won the elections, right?
No, she didn't, but she was running for the elections.
Okay.
She was running for the elections, so that's really that's really something that can really connect you. That's really something that can be great for you and for your cause. What would you like to do? So I think that's very important, that you will just really you will just really try to approach someone who is close to our academy. and that could be the first step. What would you say about it?
Yes.
And you can really ask her, like,
I have to buy something I don't really believe in. So it would be a great exercise yet to get to the point.
To really like yeah, just talk to these women who really like, were interested. And also like they just would like to really be the source of the information for you,
Yeah.
like the one.
Yeah, but that I come back to my question. For example, I find an Abhishek, he's a millionaire in India, and I want him to give me money for my political party in Bolivia. So, and then I go to Abhishek and I ask him for donation or for investment. Not about this understanding what we're talking about, but formally,
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand my question?
So what would you prefer to ask him?
For donation, because I'm still thinking on on the word,
Mm-hmm.
on the use, on the general use of this word all over the world. I that's what I mean.
No, I didn't get the last part. Can you repeat it?
If we're talking about Bolivia or maybe India, how I understood it, if we are talking about investment,
mm-hmm.
then we are talking about I give you money and then I became money back. That's the usual use of this word, and we are talking about understanding that investment can get back something else as money, but this is what we are talking here about. I'm asking about going out into the real world and find an Abhishek and say, please Abhishek, invest in my political party. You will get impact back.
Mm-hmm.
It is normal. Can I use it?
Yes, but not this way. Like, let's say Abhishek, how would it like land to you if she did it this way?
No, it won't land very good. Am I audible? So I think the way you are saying it won't land very good to me. And even if I have money in India, so I may not be interested in providing money to you. So I need to understand where you coming from. What do you want to achieve out of your a proposal or whatever you are saying to me? How you are trying to achieve it, and what will I get in return? Not in terms of money only. The return on impact factor. If you are able to convince me, so I may be interested, but I'm not sure whether I will be providing money or not.
So what do you feel?
I can understand it because the problem is, what is my cause? My cause is to get the actual president out, to allow new people to make a better country, more justice, etc., etc., etc. But why would an investor from India be interested in the democratical impact in Bolivia? That's what I cannot get in,
Yes, but from that angle, what I understood, an investor from India can be interested if he has money. First thing, you know that I'm a millionaire, okay? So
Yeah,
I
imagine.
may be interested because you know that I'm a millionaire, so I may be interested in your cause. But you need to convince me,
Convince.
okay, that your cause is uh, something which is very genuine, and I am getting something in return from your cause. If I am able, even if I am able to brag someone in India that okay, I have donated to this girl, she is able to approve the government in Bolivia and try to bring democracy there. It's a big thing. So at least you have to convince me from that angle. This is one of the facet which I am just telling you.
So I have to understand not every, but if someone has a lot of money, then he is interested in help.
Not, not only money. I mean, people who have money might not be interested, but you need to first stakeholder mapping, as we were
Yeah,
saying.
I have
Who
to
are those
learn that.
people
Yeah.
who are those people who might help you. I mean, we will learn it together. Me, you, and Andrea is always there to help us. But we need to understand who are those people who will help us in our own cause. Maybe not limited to our own country and not to one region. We can even go to the other region and we can have a broader set of people who can help us. So we need to understand that. We need to convince them. We need to get money from them if we are able to get some kind of fundraising from them. And then we should be very much firm with our own cause that okay, I am standing up for this cause and I have to be very firm about this. So this is what I understand. And obviously what Andrea is saying, that we will have people, in this world who will be in resonance with our own thought. Not maybe not in a month we can get them, but maybe in a year, or maybe after persistent effort we will be able to reach to them. So obviously if we do it together we can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's something that's yeah. Abhishek, that's great. You sum it up, because I think you sum it up better than I would do. Like, it's exactly like we can, Christina, prepare the whole list of the people you need to approach, and then we need to think, okay, why? Because that's the strategy in the phase 1 and also 3, which are investors or donors. There's always the message, the whole message, how you convey why you need the investment is important. With crowdfunding, it's a campaign.
Yeah.
But with investors, it's always about the whole problem. With investors, it's also an investment plan.
I think it will.
Go ahead, Abhishek.
If you can provide us with a sample. I'm saying, hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible? I'm saying that if you can provide us with some sample, I mean, how do we approach to someone, So if you have some sample or some example from your own personal experience, or from Andres or whosoever it is, so me and Christina, we can actually understand how do we approach someone in a particular case, and then we can try with our own develop, not limited to our own country. Maybe we can try in Europe, maybe I can try in US, or Christina can try in America, or maybe in Australia, I don't know. We can try in many fields. So let us try to first execute one of the very basic example, and then we will get that confidence. Maybe then Christina won't hesitate to approach someone in India to get the kind of funding which is looking from an investor in India, or maybe in some other part of the world, maybe in Arabia, democracy. But even if you can approach there and ask for some kind of fundraising, for democracy in your own country, so that can be totally done.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me, guys? Abhishek?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you are back now.
Yes. So exactly that's the point. Like, as he said, there could be a general, like as Abhishek shared with you, Christina. I wouldn't again say it better, because he's someone that is now listening your calls the first. So I think it's very important that you are present while you are sharing to investor. Can you hear me?
Yes, now again, yeah.
So it's the most important thing is just, what you are sharing to an investor. So I think what he summed up, if there's an investor who would be interested, to many countries in the world that can be transformed and done differently, that's the key, for example. you know. So that I would really take from it, like to really focus on the people who might have an interest and what kind of level of interest they would have in, you know, in transforming the stuff.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So the fourth group, as we are almost closing down in 10 minutes, but it's important to mention, is the group, as Andre said, is like the institutional donors, you know, or like institutional, we can call them institutional donors. So all the institutions. There is sometimes very important to have an entity, of course, because when you have an entity and you are like approved to apply for so there are all the grants, you know. The strategy here is to have a good project proposal. So how to write a good project proposal, it's really up to the structure of the organization you are asking the money. So if it's like, for example, a big, large foundation, they have a very big applications. You have to be very clear about the goals you want to achieve. They love using one thing in the category 4, using so-called dissemination and exploitation. That's their lovely phrase of results. And this is something you can see on many applications. I would say in any bigger applications over 5,000. And it's really like about how you will use the results, but you have to be very specific. Sometimes you can be more colorful, and you know, you can be like think of different things, how you disseminate, so how you spread your results further. And sometimes this part of the project, when you apply to the number 4, when you apply to institutional donors, is the most crucial one. When they decide why to give you the money, because can you hear me? Great.
Yes, you're completely.
So as Andre told you, like there is a part, you remember, like he was like, you know, also the organizations have their goals. So that's it. They have their priorities. And when you start, for example, doing an application, you might see like, okay, it's this program, you know, or it's this priority and it's this priority. So you kind of like can fix to some of their priorities, or in some organizations, it's also a programming area, you know, inclusion and diversity, or women and democracy. So for example, Christina, in your case, maybe many organizations have a cluster democracy building, capacities building in democracy, you know? Are you here?
But we hear you, Andrea.
I can hear you, yeah.
So for example, some of the organizations have the so-called like the capacity building space, you know, or democracy, you know, like building democracy, how to build democracy. So there are many different columns and many different, you know, like clusters, which are important, you know, when you apply for the project, and which can be in favor actually of your application. So I would say when we applied for a big funding for almost 30,000, the organization we applied for had 2 important categories. One was promoting democracy, but another one was like engaging stakeholders, you know, so important people and state players. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, because if you can move them, because I don't know what's happening with internet. So I try to know, if then I will then at least switch to 4G. So if I show something, then you can reply.
You're gone again, Andrea.
Now I'm here, or you can't hear me? Great. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Not anymore.
Now
you're here, and then there is freeze. You go and you come back. So
just
try to talk.
So if it happen again, so I will switch to my 4G because I want to complete this well. So now can you hear me? No. Okay, so I'm gonna switch to my 4G because maybe there might be some disruption on the internet, and I don't want to. Yes. Great. Can you hear me? Yes, perfect. So in this case, we had an opportunity to apply for a big grant because actually the project we had about engaging the stakeholders into civic, into the civic forums and the dialogues about values and about politics in the country. That was the project we did. That was actually something we could really, involve them. Can you hear me? Great. So that it actually fell into two categories of theirs. It actually fell into the category of democracy, and also it fell into the category of civil rights. So that was interesting. So in these four, when you will really think, and then also there was definitely this question, like, how will you disseminate, how will you spread the results? So that was very good and effective, because these people could really like connect to this, so they could really be connected with the purpose, and we got the money then. So in this case, you really have to think about also what are your goals, how will you spread the results. And the fifth category, I don't even know if there's those are your potential, I would say, your potential members, and let me see, there was also one which was mentioned in one amazing article about fundraising. Let me find it, because I'm not a Wikipedia neither, so I can also find what was written there, and I like it actually, because it was very very clear and very well written. But if I won't find it, no problem, I will share with you. But I like this definition. Yeah, okay, I can't find it, but yes, this was it. So, okay, this is not even possible to open again. So let me see if I find it for you. Yes, I think it's here. No. Okay, so anyway, I will find it for you as an article. So there was a membership space, or the people who are who want to help you in building your community or your project. They are not the donors, because they don't really bring a huge amount of money, but they still bring some money, and you can really you can really rely on them. So I would say individual people, not the donors, but individuals. In big companies or big institutions.
That's the fifth one, individual people?
Yeah, I would say so, from my experience. I was trying to find also something what the other people stated as a fifth one, so I will search it for you. As I say, I'm not Wikipedia, I can just share what I see is important to see. But I also found a very interesting article that was also naming other categories, so I will also share this one with you. But individuals in terms
Abhishek, wake up.
Yes, don't sleep. But I know it's late. I understand. It's already, it's midnight, after midnight in India.
I'm listening actually.
So we will soon end. It's 2 minutes.
So what? Excuse me. What's the difference between individual donors and individual people?
Yeah, I tell you, individuals are, for example, big universities or big companies have these alumni. And what you can do, you can start raising a campaign with alumni to, give, for example, 1% of their fee to your organization, or on monthly basis, they can give you some money. And these are not really donors, like really the big donors, but these are small people that have already, for example, the affiliation with your organization. They know what you do. They, for example, have gone through some of your programs, and they can decide at some moment that, I would like to help them, and maybe I can give 10 euros per month to the organization. We have this kind of concept. Some of the supporters that really,
like an abonnement, you mean?
Yeah, like abonnement, but the abonnement, or the Abhishek for you, really the abonnement is for newspapers. You kind of have subscriptions. Yes, if you that's abonnement, it's in French. It seems in Spain as well. But the subscription is in English, but it's not a subscription because they might not even get anything from you, maybe except for one gathering per year or some information. But they know what you are up to. They might be your alumni. You will be our alumni as well. And they see that when they now have money, and because of your organization, because of your project, they got to that part of money, you know, they want to give back. They want to give back.
Oh, okay, I understand. Yeah.
So this could be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this.
But this would be for a couple of years, good fundraising and good working. Then you can do something like that.
Exactly.
Huh? Yeah.
And it can be few amount of money. And I'll tell you, I always value these people because those were like, you know, they just gave it from their own pockets. And it was amazing to see that I remember we had some people who gave us 15 euros per month, and it was great. You know, they had a permanent bank transfer, and it was just like so. And you can do this already, you know, just talking to them. You know, if they experience you in action and now they have money and they could help you, there are different ways of engaging them into your cause. You know, different ways of really.
Yeah, that sounds good for me. It's like I'm now closing the concept. It's like I have 5 ways to engage donors.
Yes.
So maybe it's logical, but for me it was not logical. Now I'm closing it. It's like 5 ways to engage.
You
the
have
style to engage.
Yes, but also 5 different stakeholders, Christina.
Yeah.
You know, they won't be different. The donors are not the investors. The investors are not people crowdfunding you, you know, like in Facebook. The Facebook people are not institutions, and institutions are not your alumni. So exactly, you have 5 ways. I would say these are 5. I'll send you, maybe there are people who know more. Maybe there are people who will say they are different people. But from my perspective, what I've experienced over these years of fundraising, these are the ways you can really monetize and raise the funds. And all of them are great. All of them have some ups and downs, and also some pros and cons. And nothing is easy. If someone says, "Oh, crowdfunding is easy," no. It may be easy if you have small amount of money, because yes, if you need to fundraise 200 euros, it's easy because 10 people putting you 20 euros, it's not
that's it, yeah.
So, oh yeah, Richard, but it's a big thing. Like, I'm so happy you, Abhishek, said you did a fundraising when you were a child. Because it starts, you know these stories of New York kids selling the lemonade.
Yeah, it's fundraising also.
It's already that. We do that. And some of us never, because in our cultures, for example, Abhishek, Christina is from Bolivia, but if Andre would be here, in our European CE countries, this is a concept that is like no-go for many, many, many generations. Like for generations of my parents, it would be a shame to ask for money.
Yeah.
Shame to ask for help, shame to ask for money. It's been like very similar mentality in Czech, in Poland, and a little bit Hungary, because we've been all suppressed. We've always been suppressed. And also this kind of a false idea of egalitarian attitude that everyone has the same, which was of course false, didn't actually force you to go further because you had the same as your neighbor. You lived in the same, you know, like I wouldn't say it's not North Korea. It's more like a China, you know, in some ways.
Communism.
Yes, communism, but we know how was it. And in many ways it was great because it brought also some very good securities to our families.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the natural way of being the first, because of course it's with raising money, who is the first is the first. And in a Google, if you put in a Google fundraising, it's lovely because there are like 5 fundraising tips. And I like it. It's like, and I don't really agree about them because it's like power up, take it easy, make it quick, always stays wide. Great.
I mean, it might have been written by someone who has tried fundraising, but not.
Yes, and it's also very much about the culture. And I love what you said, Abhishek, and it's also for Christina. You are from actually different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And that's exactly different. Christina, we can't hear you. You are muted.
Yeah, sorry. Nobody in Bolivia gives you 1 cent. No one. It's like
no one. If you jump into them like Americans do, you know. Of course.
Yeah.
No one in this world will give you any cent if you are not able to convince them about your idea, you know.
Yeah, but it's also cultural because they think if I give you something, then I want to earn something.
That's what I'm saying.
You sell yourself. It's kind of
that. You have So you have to do ROI, return on impact kind of thing. You have to convince, Obviously, I have not done it for myself, but I'm just trying to understand that this is the whole idea and we can try to implement it together.
Yeah. Or for example, with the political party, just very short, in Barcelona, I had many young, great people for the party. And yeah, they told me, no, I'm so sorry, because we have already a chef in Barcelona for the party, because he has money, he's giving us some money, so we are we have to give him the majority, the place, and I was saying like, okay, and that's not going with my principles. That's what I mean. I have to maybe search money for something I don't believe in, I don't think it's the right way to do it, but maybe I'm too close to my principles and my little world, I know, but
yes, and it's fine. It's
digest
fine
it.
No, but yes, that's the point. You need to test it. It's fine to be stick to your principles, because that's exactly what Lynn said about not enough. Sometimes people who get so many money, they don't know when to stop. And they start fundraising for the reason of fundraising, and not even fundraising, promising, and you can read the miserable stories of many ventures, and we need to end like soon, because I don't want to respect your time, and that there are investors and the social enterprises and ventures that ask for millions of investment from venture capitalists, and they got it, and they are under such a pressure to generate the results that these people don't sleep, these people eat a little, they just work because they need to produce it. And it's something that is different when you have like a cause as you have, or Abhishek or Andrzej, but it's still the same. Don't accept anything you can't get back. And I think it's like a basic logic that starts with taking a credit and a loan, taking a loan or taking a credit from the bank. Because whatever you take, loan is under the credit. And you take it being aware, of course, that you will need to pay for it. With the fundraising is not always like that, but then you have to be careful what way to take. And sometimes maybe starting with, okay, 5,000. Okay, let's start with 3,000 in the beginning, because this is something we can raise and we don't have to give a loan to that, and we can start with that. So it's also like that, and that leads me to a very short last words from Lynn. That really like it's never, like that it's never enough. So it's like we will never see there's enough, because we always have a new ideas what's going on. We will always have like, oh yes, I want to get this, and maybe we could have another office there, or maybe we could have, maybe you could do more trips to Spain because your flights would be covered. Maybe Abhishek could go to Europe and learn from the best democracy builders, so he would need that money. And it's it's tempting when there's a budget and you don't have a water to put in the vase, but you have a vase, and it's really, really tempting and tricky, because you think that, okay, I will just put the water into that vase and it will work. No, it won't, because if you don't have a cause, you don't need that money. And that's something I've learned mostly in the space 4, which is about institutional money. Like they have a huge amount of money and they can give you money for whatever you want sometimes, if it's good written on a paper. And then you found out that you do the project, not because you do the project because of the project, not because of the real cause. And that's a big trap of many organizations. It used to be ours as well, but then we changed it. You just you see many kind of these conferences, I remember myself, and that's the last sharing. I was invited to one roundtable conference in Warsaw last year, and it was paid by big project, by big organization, I can't name it, and they they covered everything for us, but they covered such a luxury way, because they didn't have any attachment to that money that was not theirs, and also they just had to make it. So we were living in the most luxury hotel in Warsaw, the most expensive one. There is another one. This is the most expensive one, the second most expensive one. And I got the flight ticket. That was like the amount of flight ticket to US, because it was Sunday and it was Austrian Airlines. So of course it can be expensive. You know, if you fly on Sunday afternoon on a very short distance, you know, sometimes short distance flights are more expensive. So it was short distance, it was Sunday afternoon, and it was Austrian Airlines, primary class. So when you count this, because they had to, and we are 20, and all of us was covered because they had to clear. And of course there was amazing food, you know, there were amazing catering, we had a pool, like, you know, I was so grateful, and I'm still grateful for this time. But you could just see what happens if you have a lot of money and you need to spend them somewhere. And the easiest thing is to put the items like traveling and food because that's easy to, you know, taxate in the report. So yeah, so I didn't want to leave you with this. I want to leave you with like the thinking that exactly as we said, like important is what you can be. And as Abhishek said, I love it, like no one gives you a cent, but someone can support you and you can raise the funds. And I will share with you also some tips and the links to your platform. So and we can go individually on one-to-one calls on your cause. So also who is there, and also you can see some more videos on one amazing TEDx video from Lynn about Soul of Money. It's 15 minutes, but I would really recommend you to have these 15 minutes and listen to it. She really shares this distinction between investor, Christina, and donor.
Yeah.
Then a shift where she rejected the money from investor because they didn't have that soul. She accepted money from donors, which are ordinary people in the monastery. And of course, they gave her like little of that what investor had been offering her. And then that investor in many years got back to her because he saw that the money could be raised differently. So it's amazing, like speech she shares. And it's also the back file of her book, Soul of Money. So you could really, you know, like have a look.
So, and I will do a homework. I will work on a stakeholder mapping for the party.
Have you seen the session of stakeholders, or you were there with us? It was like
there were two.
There was one. There was one on stakeholders.
Then I was there.
So have a look at it again. I will put it. I can put the recordings. If not, go ahead, and we can on our one-to-one session. We can go through it.
Yeah.
And that's all for me. And I would like to thank you and maybe ask you for like one word that you are like taking, or what? How was it for you?
I can start it. I love every call. Every single call is so amazing for me. I'm learning so much, and but it's like a whole new world for me. So I'm struggling with myself to accept everything and the things, the way things work. Don't understand me wrong, but it's like I have to get ready with all this stuff. I have always been thinking it's not important because I have my cause, you know. And this awakening, it's a little bit hard, but I recognize it's imprescindible, and you cannot. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Andrea.
But finish your whatever. I'm sorry, I jumped into your.
Yeah, that was it. I think everything I'm learning, it's I have to struggle with it in me, but I recognize it is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to learn it if I want to do things well. So and I find so great you know so much, and Abhishek knows so much, and Andre, it's just great. I love you all.
We love you because we help each other, you know, Christina.
Definitely, that's what I'm saying, because obviously we have that idea, but how to execute it together, you know, that's the key. And that has to be seen somewhere. If I'm able to get few fund on a particular issue, and so can Christina with the help of Andrea and other people, you know, whosoever is with us, so that will be great.
Abhishek, how are you about the session? I know it's late in India, so how are you?
Yeah, I think today I was a bit occupied in my office, so I was a bit tired, but obviously I was listening to it very carefully. So one thing which hit me, you know, apart from all the theoretical knowledge, So it should be very practical in approach, you know. Whatever we are saying, if that is implementable, so that is the whole essence of our learning. If we are not able to implement this, so this remains zero. So that's what I am asking you for few sample, and you know, how do we approach someone? If we can get some assistance on that aspect from you guys, so that will be better, you know.
We can have this on the. We can have
Yeah,
another call on this, no problem, or we
yeah.
can have a on one-to-one with both with each of us.
Sure.
Can agree.
Thank
You
you.
can suggest it, Abhishek, whatever would be better for people.
Yeah,
If it's like
definitely.
get one-to-one, it's better,
Yeah.
or we can have a session on this.
No, we can have a session together. If we will have a discussion in WhatsApp and other places, we
Mhm.
will try to understand. So
Yeah.
we will tell you what do we require, and then we can approach it together.
Mhm.
Sure.
And Christina, please also send your dates and hours for the session with Deborah, because we
Yeah.
want to have it. And this case of Australian time and
Do we
Indian.
have a doodle or something?
No, we wanna try to arrange it through WhatsApp. Firstly, on your
Okay.
preferences, and if there's any day an hour we can make it, then I'll try to communicate with her. And if that's not a day that can work for her, still we can somehow arrange it. So I want to also know from you. I will communicate with her, and then
It has to be very through in the morning.
yes, it's
very early, right?
morning. Yeah, not very early. We can start around 7 or 8 a.m.
Okay.
So these are her possibilities, or also lunchtime. But lunchtime is not possible for Anjay.
For Andre, yeah.
But
well, actually, it's no problem. At 6 o'clock, I'm awake because of the girls. So I'm open to it. I just have to know when. Then I tell my husband he has to take care of the girls for the day. So it's no.
For Abhishek, it will be 10. So that's great. I mean, like 10, 11. So you are pretty fine with morning.
Yeah, but morning is okay. 10, 11 is okay. But I have to see that whether Monday is possible or not. You know, if not Monday, then Tuesday.
We don't have to go for Monday. Just I would now close it. It's 47. I would like to thank you, because it's amazing for me as well to share with you and be here in Sweden. And it's always like I so much get present. What is this all that we caused? Not even like in November last year, and this is happening, and we are connected, and I feel honored I can be in this space. And
yeah, we need a project together.
yes, we could think about something. Why not?
Yeah.
I think it's evolving, you know, it's starting. And please write me.
Yeah, definitely. You know, our bond has grown together, you know.
We bond together because the previous group was not bonded like this. And it's because the quality is much higher. And it's because of you. And I hope also the June one will be, so you can share as Abhishek shares, like also Christina, if you have anyone in mind that could really benefit from the academy and connect us, it's fantastic. So we can really like think about other people who will join Victoria and Maros, because we have 2 others already for June and they are with us. So you can also connect with them regarding your resources. Christina, especially since you are still in Germany. Maros, the Slovak guy, but he lives in Chemnitz. So maybe you but he travels to Munich very often. So you could maybe think of something before he leaves, and also maybe with Andrzej, because Andrzej is in Berlin. So
I probably have to go to Berlin next days. Yeah.
So you can use this opportunity, and for us who are apart, we can connect. And looking forward to see you. So I will schedule Deborah as we agree, and I will schedule 2 other sessions for us, and we will be in touch within this week.
Yeah.
Cool.
Have a good evening.
Okay. Good night.
Good evening. Bye bye. Good night.